Hi, everybody, it's Josh with Talk About Trek, and we're back again today because we've finished up Dragon's Honor, TNG number 38. Uh, a very fun little novel written by Kij Johnson and Greg Cox jointly. Uh, Dragon's Honor was a it's different. It is very different, but it is it's very light, and it is very funny. Honestly, probably the most laughs I have got out of a Trek book in, I don't know, in quite a few books, probably. They really did a great job kind of punching up the humor in this one. And also, it was something that it wasn't a focus on any one character. So everybody got a little bit of something fun to do, and I think that kind of added to the book. So let's read the front and back here. Am I recording? Of course I am. Captain Picard must defeat an alien armada. That's not even what happens. Now, isolated for centuries, the exotic Dragon Empire is finally ready to join the United Federation of Planets. But first, the Emperor's eldest son must marry the only daughter of his oldest enemy, bringing to an end decades of civil war. Without the wedding, there can be no peace and no treaty with the Federation. As honored guests of the Dragon Empire, Captain Picard and crew of the Starship Enterprise must ensure that the royal wedding occurs on schedule, despite the Empire's complicated and difficult codes of honor. And Dr. Beverly Crusher finds her loyalties torn when she wins the confidence of the unusually reluctant bride-to-be. More than just a treaty is at stake, for a vicious race of alien conquerors will stop at nothing, from assassination to invasion, to keep the Empire out of the Federation. Picard must now use all his skills to save the Empire and preserve the Dragon's honor. That's a very wordy back cover. They definitely say too much, and really, they should just say something shorter, like, you've got a mission to save this colony world, and everybody gets to have a little bit of fun. I think that would have been a better back cover than that. But basically, I would say with this book, what you're getting into is just a kind of like a silly one night story. The whole thing takes place over the course of one night, basically. They get there, they have to attend this wedding feast, and then like the whole story plays out throughout the night. So that part of the story I thought was really cool as well. That it just continues on, and then you get to see each main cast member of TNG kind of gets a little bit of time to shine and a little bit of something fun to do. So the planet that they are going to is the planet Pi, and it's a planet of like human colonists from back in the day who have chosen to kind of emulate and just continue on with this medieval China kind of style, but they do have technology, so they still have advanced technology and things like that. So the kind of the hitch in the story, of course, as it said, is this big wedding, and this wedding has to go down because if the wedding doesn't go down and this planet can't achieve the peace, then they can't join the Federation, and they won't be able to sign the treaty to join the Federation. And then they also bring in this race of kind of lizard-like predators, the Naku, I think is how they say it, and they don't explore that very much. It is mostly focused on like what's going on, at the party, at the wedding kind of thing. But I feel that maybe they could have even explored that a little bit more because they were an interesting race, I guess. And now I kind of liked how, even though it was just a little bit, that they did go into that, and it was interesting how they did go into that. So, all in all, before I dive into the full-on rant and rave about it, it's a fun book. Again, it's not a particular focus on anybody. I would say if anyone did have a a chief role, it would be maybe a Worf book more than anything. But honestly, everybody kind of got to have a little bit of fun. And oh, also in regards to how it was written, so you have a book written by two authors here, and what happened was Kids Johnson kind of wrote the book, wrote the framework of the book, but then at a time had to move across country, so could not finish in time for her deadline. Because of that, she asked Greg Cox to finish it, and he kind of came in and then just kind of took her story and kind of brought everything and finished it up. So, and then she was influenced at that time because she was doing research on like 11th century Japan, and that kind of made her want to write this medieval China story. So, um, it was a fun book. Weird thing that I kind of thought about it was that this kind of society, which is technologically advanced but is socially backwards with how they treat like their women. They have like harems and concubines. So it's kind of weird that they were even being considered for Federation membership at this state, but I guess also it was kind of a part because they needed to save them because if they don't join the Federation, then they'll become, a victim of this terrible Naku species. And they kind of elaborate a little bit on this Naku is a species that kind of literally goes in and eats people. Like they preyed on like a whole civilization of avian people. So just very interesting. They all they crawled about on all fours. They used like smelling things on their ship as a way of controlling and reading information. So just a small part of the book, but very interesting. So now the main story. So the main story is basically taking place right before the wedding. The Enterprise gets to the planet. Before they get there, they do meet up with this. I think it's like Master Baku of the Naku or whatever, Master Baka maybe. But anyway, he's one of the leader of these Naku, and they basically state their intention. They're going to go to Pi and get the wedding to go through, and they're going to be able to have them join the Federation and fall under their protection. So now they get to the planet and they meet the dragon, and the dragon is the emperor basically of this land, and he was at war with this person that rose up against him named Lo Tongue. So now Lo Tongue's daughter, the Green Pearl, is set to marry the dragon's son, the first heir, Chon Chi. So, and that's the big wedding coming up. So when the Enterprise comes in, they come in to basically like the big dinner reception beforehand. And again, like there's the women of the party, Dr. Crusher and Counselor Troy have to be kind of set like off to the side, away from the Emperor, while Riker and Picard get to go up and sit and talk with the Emperor. And then during the festivities there, as Data's sitting off to the side with the ladies, he notices like this flying dart in the air, and he manages to run, grab it, and pull it out of the air just in time. And it turns out it was an assassination attempt against the dragon. And kind of Picard and crew are kind of perturbed by how the dragon is not very concerned about this, and is kind of more concerned about just getting back to the party and having fun. And it's basically like it's so much about like honor, but like not real honor, just like this kind of fake. I don't know, like it's all talk, with these people really. So now we have the point in the story where everybody kind of gets to divide off, and you get to see where everybody's story is going to kind of end up. It's decided that they have to kind of everybody needs to monitor a member of the family in case of more assassination attempts. So Picard's going to stay with the dragon all night and just kind of hang out with him. Riker gets to go to the bachelor party, which they don't call that. They give it a different name, but he gets to go to the bachelor party with Chan-Chi, and that's where he meets the second heir, Kan-Hee. So, I think he meets him before that. But anyway, so Riker is watching over them basically to make sure nothing happens to them. They figure out a way to get Dr. Crusher sent to talk to the Green Pearl, kind of as like a substitute mother of the bride thing, so that she can watch over him or her. And then Troy stays with Picard. And then they even kind of figure out a way to get Worf to come down. And again, it's all like this whole matter of honor. They want to have Worf come down and kind of give them some additional security since this assassination attempt happened. The dragon says no, that's an insult. So they kind of finagle a way to get Worf to come down. And that's when the book starts getting really, really fun, I think. Because, again, Worf kind of takes takes the center stage, I would say, in this one. He comes down and he gets to meet up with the security minister of the Pi, Chi-Lu. And right from the get-go, as soon as he comes down, the security minister is offended by Worf's presence, challenges him to a duel, and then you have this awesome little duel scene back and forth between them, where Worf, in the end, kind of takes the advantage and kind of convinces this Chan-Li or Chi-Lu to work with him. And like I said, that's kind of, I think, the main heart of the story is Worf and him working together to kind of get to the bottom of the mystery. So, now, a lot of the other stuff is just in there, and it's just in there to be funny. And that's kind of what you have with the other bits of the story. So, Picard and the dragon, Picard kind of puts his foot in his mouth in the get-go and tells the dragon how, oh yeah, he wants to try this delicacy, and it's all disgusting to him. But the dragon keeps ordering more and more of this like fantastic delicacies from their planet, which are all terribly disgusting, but Picard just has to keep choking them down and telling, the dragon how great they are. So, and that is basically his story throughout the book, just kind of varying degrees of this awful food he has to eat, as he's trying to keep convincing the dragon to talk about something serious, while the dragon just wants to keep snacking, and then eventually playing a game and snacking on more exotic and weird things. Now, Riker, he goes down to the bachelor party, and initially at first, he gets into a fight with one of the other people there who thinks that he's trying to take advantage of some of the women there, and loses his phaser in the time. And kind of something fishy is about that. So you kind of know there was some kind of setup or something there. But anyway, he was given an anti-intoxicant, luckily. So he was able to kind of keep drinking along with all the bachelors there and the husband-to-be. And he teaches them to play poker. So and Riker's basically his whole scene in this book. The main part of it, really, the best part, is him and all the bachelors and the husband-to-be. And he's teaching them to play poker and trying to teach them through their weird and strict kind of honor rules. They at first they don't like the idea of bluffing. They don't understand the idea of folding. So there's some very fun stuff there, and how it all ties up in the end also just very good as well. So, and then you have Dr. Crusher. She, of course, was sent to watch over the Green Pearl. And when she goes to meet the Green Pearl, who's under this intense, lock and key of this fantastic door that doesn't open except for this one guy's wing, or ring. And anyway, so she's locked in there with them, the Green Pearl, and the daughter of the heir, Sohar. And they don't really like each other, they don't really get along. And she's kind of there to watch over her, but then also, give her advice, I guess, about getting married and things like that. So that's Dr. Crusher's kind of side of things. So back on the Enterprise, they do give Geordi a little bit of a story where at first they give him a task to design some sort of fireworks display for after the wedding as kind of like a gift to them, So he comes up with something, he shows it to a couple of the scientists from the planet, and they inform him then that basically every 5 years or so, this planet goes through a nebula, and it has this fantastic display that happens anyway. So everything that he showed them, they were like, "Oh we've seen this before. We see it for like 5 days every couple of years. It's not very exciting." So Geordi's like, understandably kind of miffed. He's been working like the whole book on this fantastic display, and they're like, it's not very good. Data is now in command of the Enterprise because he was on the planet for a little bit, but as soon as the dragon kind of saw him and what he could do, he was pretty insistent on getting Data given to him as a gift. So Picard found a way to kind of get him out of that situation and set him up there. So it was probably way earlier in the book than this when I could totally see exactly what was happening and how the book was going to end. So again, they give you a few little bits and pieces of the Naku species who are preparing their attack on Pi, and they have a trader, a Pi trader, who communicates with them. They don't reveal who it is, but it's so easy to see who it is, obviously, and it's Chanchi, the heir, of course, but they don't reveal that to the very end, but you can see right from the get-go. And you can obviously see that the Green Pearl is in love with Kan-Hee. I mean, they drop plenty of hints right there when you first kind of meet Kan-Hee, and then when you meet the Green Pearl. So if you know anything, you're able to put that together. But even so, it doesn't take away from how fun the book is. Because as the story picks up and as everything kind of plays out, it just gets funner and funner. And there's some serious bits in it as well, but most of it really is just fun. So, Riker at the bachelor party, he teaches them poker, and at first is kind of determined to lose because he's not trying to take everything, everything from these guys, and they really don't know what they're doing. And if he tries, he's gonna win. He's gonna be able to beat them. So, but then. They say something that upsets the second heir, Kan-Hee, and Kan-Hee he has to leave the bachelor party, so he's gone from that scene for the remainder of Riker's time, and Riker is just then playing poker with these guys, who then decide that even though all their gold is gone, they're now going to allow wagers on credit and whatever else they have. So that's where they kind of leave that story, where Riker is kind of winning more and more and more and more, and now these people are starting to bet their houses, their wives, and their concubines, and everything they have against him. So, and that's where they kind of finish off his story. With Picard, again, he's hanging out with the dragon at first in the dining room, then they end up moving on right down to the kitchen because they want to taste this very rare delicacy where they've only cooked it once like in 1,000 years. And they've already fed Picard like a million awful things that he's had to claim are very good. But Troy is with them as well, and she's kind of trying to take some of the pressure off Picard in his dealings with the Emperor, who really just doesn't want to take anything seriously at all. But the whole thing is just kind of fun. But they're going to eat this special delicacy, and it's at this point when he looks at it, and it looks like a bird's talon dipped in like booger slime or something. And he just says, no, I can't do it. It just looks too bad. So then the Emperor's like, oh, well then maybe they cooked it wrong. We're going to have everybody executed. And he throws a little piece of it to the dog, and then the dog immediately dies. It turns out this was the next assassination attempt. And Picard saved himself and the dragon from the attempt because he just couldn't eat any more gross stuff. So that was pretty interesting. They confirmed there was some sort of poison in there when they scanned the dog and they scanned the food, and so now they know that there's an active assassin, and they find the dragon's a little bit more concerned now. Back with the Green Pearl and Dr. Crusher. Dr. Crusher walks away for a minute to talk to the captain on her communicator. When she comes back, the Green Pearl has vanished. So Yahar won't say anything, and nobody knows what happened. So they sound the alarm. The Green Pearl is missing. Come on. I know what happens, and if you're reading this book, you know what happened as well. Kanhi has left. Kanhi has came and taken her. Of course, right? I mean, that's obviously what's happened. I forgot to bring up the point where there was all these elaborate wedding gifts, and they were being guarded by Worf's security team and their security team, and both teams were gassed, and everything was taken. And that was kind of the reason that Worf came down and joined up with Chi-Lu in the first place, to kind of solve the mystery of the missing wedding gifts. So now, Worf is on the case of the missing wedding gifts, but also on the case of the missing green pearl, and this is where kind of Worf takes over the story, I guess, and he's kind of fed up with the pie way of doing things, so he kind of takes things over. He finds a secret passage in the treasure room, follows it down, finds some footprints, follows the footprints, and what does he find in this secret underground room? The green pearl and Kanhi. And he's able to, incapacitate Kanhi, and they bring the whole story to a close here. But it's revealed in the end, of course, that the traitor is Chon-Chi. So when it's revealed that the traitor is Chon-Chi, they're able to do a little bit of dipsy doodle and get Kan-Hee, who's now the first heir, to marry the Green Pearl. But they have to do it quickly because Okay, let me rewind a little bit. Before this whole wedding business starts, the fleet of the Naku is hiding in this nebula. Data on the Enterprise with Geordi has found that out. They figured that out. There's some fun side characters that they actually put in there, some like second bridge characters and things. So there's some fun bits on the Enterprise too there. But Data and Geordi figure out that this fleet is over there, and Data figures out a very fabulous plan to disable the fleet without directly attacking them or breaking the Prime Directive by provoking them or attacking them within the empire of the dragon, So he calls up the Naku and insults them by calling them all sorts of terrible things related to how they evolved, basically. And he knows that this is something that is going to set them off greatly because they don't like that. And it works like a charm. So basically all 50 of the Naku ships follow the Enterprise out of their territory. The Enterprise sets up this ring of bombs, and these bombs go off and disable the engines of the Naku ships. Only 5 of the Naku escape, and these are the 5 Naku on their way to Pi right now. Now the Enterprise is there at Pi too, but they can't do anything until this marriage takes place. But with all... See, the end of this book is like a comedy. With everything that's gone down, the minister has fainted, and they cannot get the guy to wake up. So what are they going to do? Who else can marry somebody, officially? A captain on his ship, right? So they beam up the entire wedding party to the Enterprise, and they complete the wedding right there on the Enterprise. The treaty is then continued, or basically in force, and they say, Mr. Data fire. He disables the 5 remaining ships, and everybody lives happily ever after. The end. So, and when I got, I don't know, where did I get this? Where would I put it here? It fell on the floor. Somewhere down here. Where did I got it? I lost it. I've lost the book. I've lost it. Here it is. I found a book. Okay. Yeah, about from the time the second assassination attempt, things really just kind of pick up, and it just gets so good, and again, so funny. So many like laugh out loud moments I was having when I was doing the final third here of Dragon's Honor. And there's so many other funny things that I didn't even get to mention. But I'll let you discover those things for yourself, because you should go now and read Dragon's Honor. That's it. That's all we're going to say about that. Now, you know what's next? Oh, yes. I am a big fan of John Vornholt's work, so I'm excited to get into Rogue Saucer. And then coming after Rogue Saucer I have number 40 is Possession, but then I'll be getting into the kind of split series, the Invasion series, where there's a TOS story, a TNG story, a Voyager story, and a Deep Space Nine story. I don't know anything about that. That's going to be so cool. So, lots of fun things to look forward to, and also some fun non-Trek related things. Oh, that I have to get into too. So, big fun reading times coming ahead. So, thanks for joining me on my short and sweet talk about Dragon's Honor. We'll see you guys next time, hopefully very soon, for Rogue Saucer. As always, live long and prosper. And we'll see you next time.